Hmm.
He always pull me together.
You fine. Here we go.
Where I supposed to
Woo!
be?
You're looking here, man.
I looked there.
Yeah. You're already live.
I'm sorry.
You're okay.
You got to tell me these
ahead.
things.
Look straight ahead.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Hope y'all are good. Come on in the room.
Oh man, thank y'all for giving us grace as well. I know we were supposed to do part 2 last week. We had a family emergency and we had to go and be with our family in Memphis. And so I just want to say thank you.
Y'all
Thank
rock.
you.
Yeah, because y'all didn't give us a hard time.
You all did not. So I just wanted to at least say thank you all for giving us grace. But we here tonight.
I mean, we made it.
Because Auntie said pull up, huh?
I mean, pull up.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to come on and pull up. Glory to God. Now let me not stand up, and I stand up and it might.
You may have to just pull up. Just pull up a little bit.
No, I can't. I can't pull up too high now because my bottom half ain't you know it ain't quite appropriate.
We literally.
But I'm gonna try to do this so I won't flash anybody, huh? Glory to God.
We got dressed from the top up.
From the waist up. I said, Pastor, make sure it is in the right place, okay? Because if it go too far, I pray I don't get excited.
We're gonna expose ourselves.
You know, maybe I should get this lap scarf. Maybe I should have this just in case.
That old thin veil.
If I get excited and I jump up.
Guys, we are extremely excited to be back with y'all tonight. And we're once we get started, we're going to be talking about managing transitions part 2.
Yes.
We are going to do our best to keep this. We're going to have y'all out of here by 10 o'clock.
Yes.
If God be willing. I feel real deep and saved when I say that.
Yes.
If God be willing, we're going to get out of here. We're going to have y'all out of here before 10 p.m. tonight. All right. Now, before we get into the depths of the second round of it, we want to remind you, if you have not already, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes.
Friends with the Friends. Please like it, share it, help us build our audience and our viewership here the best way that you can. You know, normally people tell you to click a corner or like it somewhere. I don't know where to tell you to click.
I don't either. I ain't even fancy.
I'm just going to ask you to do it. If you don't mind.
I can work a phone.
If you don't mind, just do it for us. God bless you. And we will be very, very excited if you do. Also, there is a feature on here, a super chat feature, where if you would like to give and or donate to anything that we're doing or something we say resonates with you differently, there's a little dollar sign, I think, at the bottom of your chat. You can do there. Ain't no pressure to do it, but we want to be sure everybody knows.
No pressure.
You can do that and follow along with where we are and what it is that we're doing in the midst of this conversation night. Yes. This is gonna be a good conversation.
Yes.
Because we are on part 2.
Part 2.
So I'm gonna give y'all a little recap of where you missed. If you missed last week and you week before last and you're not caught up on everything Friends with the Friends, let me just tell you where we left off.
Oh, shameless plug. I see y'all saying something about the shirt. So listen, if you want the shirt, I decided to extend it. I had several people. I put up a post. It was supposed to be cut off yesterday. I extended it to Friday. Is that tomorrow? Don't tell me my ponytail falling. It was only $2.
It ain't gonna fall. It ain't gonna fall. But it's if I blow one time, it's gone. It's gone.
Please don't do that on this line.
I won't.
Go to my website, FanikaFriend.com, and tomorrow is the last day to pre-order. So I might not need to be doing all that with my head.
Please,
maybe
be still.
Maybe go run and give me a bite.
No, I can't. We're just gonna make it tonight. We're gonna pray.
Because this pony is barely holding on in Jesus' name. But yes, so tomorrow is the last day. Now, this was a sample shirt. I did not like this cut. So when you receive your shirt, it's not gonna be this cut. This is a female cut, and because I am well endowed, I have smart boobs.
Endow me,
anything that's on
Lord,
and when you have more than one degree behind your, so I'm just
Thank you,
subconscious
Destiny.
thank you, Destiny, about a woman fit shirt. So it will not be this. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. But let's go. Let's get it started.
So when we left off last week, I just got fired from my job. Last week before last.
Yes.
We were giving birth to Amana.
Do a whole recap, because it might be some people who wouldn't hear. Do it real quick, like in 2 minutes.
So our very quick 2-minute run through with this is we got married in 2008. We're supposed to get married in 2007. The woman of God left me standing at the altar. We got married in 2008. This is going, for those that ain't been following, it's going to sound real janky, but we literally went from being friends to fiancés. So we decided that we were
put an S on that
fiancés. So we decided we were gonna get married. We moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We worked there. I worked there in ministry for a year. She had our first baby there.
Yeah.
And we had a little challenging season while we were in Tulsa. Tulsa was a challenge. I didn't prepare for her to come into a narrative that I was already existing in appropriately. And in her attempt to be Miss Good Wife, she didn't really communicate some of her disdain until she had to cut grass 8 months pregnant.
You got to go back and watch that, baby. If you hadn't seen part 1 and hear about that grass cutting story.
So we moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And we lived in Chattanooga for 1 year. I worked for a church there as an executive pastor. And the best part about Chattanooga was that my parents got to come up very frequently. Yeah. We saw my parents at least once. It felt like
51 weekends, not 52. They maybe missed one, but at least 51 for sure. We
saw them very often. And so because we got to see them so much, we got a lot of valuable time with my dad and my mom, and so did my children. Yes. But the night that she had Amana, I got an email at midnight firing me from my job. All right. So I think we left off last part 1. Fanika, it turned to tears. Our triumph
I did not like it.
And we talked about the dangers in transition of really not communicating where our heart and our head were and how those pieces work together. Yes. Right? Yes. So part 2, here's where we pick up. So it is December. This is 2010.
Yeah.
2010. No. 20.
Yeah, 2010. 2009.
2009.
2010. Yes.
So it is now December 2010. And we are trying to figure out what in the heck is going to happen next. Yeah. I don't have a clue on what I'm going to do for a job. Vanika is just pushing babies out left and right. I mean, popping them.
So the baby, less than 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks old?
When we have to make a decision on what we're going to do next. I mean, Amana was literally a baby. And I was driving to Huntsville, Alabama, to go and talk to my parents, because I was going to tell my parents, guys, I wrote out a whole plan. It was like a 3-page plan of how I needed to move my family in for a couple months. But here's what I was going to do. I'm going to pay this much in rent. I'm going to get a job, doing anything I've got to do in order to be sure I can take care of my family.
Now, we are a family of what at this time?
5 now.
And how many bedrooms is this house we're going to?
My parents' house has 3 bedrooms. So, and my younger sister, who's in college, is still living in the house in the bedroom she grew up in. So on the way, and this is interesting because as I was driving home, I get a call from the former assistant pastor at the church that I had just left in Tulsa. And he said, hey, and we're both from Huntsville, Alabama. He said, hey, I just got a call from a friend of mine who is looking for a youth pastor in Huntsville. And I didn't even know if it was something you'd be interested in. Now, he didn't know I had lost my job. He didn't know about any of this. Yeah. So I drive into Huntsville the same day. And instead of going to my parents' house first, I go straight to the church. I interviewed for this job on the fly. And in that moment, they decide to hire me and give me the job.
Now, he goes from
Thank you, Marquita.
an executive pastor, leading out. He did all of the meetings. He did everything at our old church. And then he goes back to youth pastor, which for some, it would have seemed like this was going backwards.
For me, it felt like it was going backwards in more than one way.
Yeah.
I was going backwards as far as my job responsibilities. So the pay was, both of them were extremely low paying positions. But the other backwards for me was I was having to kill my pride and go move in with my parents again. I was having to go live back at home. It was probably the most humbling experience of my entire life, to move my wife and my 3 kids into the bedroom that I grew up in. Yeah, I can't put into words, and probably every husband in here will probably understand what I'm saying, that when we leave home and we expect to be providers and we expect to be the ones that hold it down for our house, the last thing we want to do is go live with the man that raised us and feel like a failure in his home. Yeah. So for me, though I was grateful to have good parents, in that moment, I probably felt like the biggest failure of my life.
Yeah. And the beauty of even us going back was I got along excellent with my in-laws. I do not have a horror story. I mean, my mother-in-law would leave and I knew I saw her the next week and we would literally cry. We would stand out in the driveway. And so I am very thankful that it was not a situation where there was tension there.
Yeah.
It was more so. And then I felt helpless because I knew he was embarrassed. We got to the point where we didn't want to come out. We didn't want to tell our friends we had moved back. You know, social media wasn't as popular as it is now. So we really wasn't posting really what we was doing because we didn't want anybody to say, oh, y'all back in Huntsville? Oh, well, where y'all stay? Because that was
in my mama house.
That wasn't that the dreaded question. In order to not even have to put ourselves in position to be asked, where y'all back? Oh man, we gotta come over. Where y'all live at now?
I'm living in my bedroom I grew up in.
So we literally came like little hermits. We literally would only come out to go to this church. And the beauty of this church, it was a mixed church. It was a Caucasian pastor. Mm-hmm. So it was not people who knew us from when we were in Huntsville before. So even though we was there, it was easy for us to hide in this church because us wasn't there. And you know what I'm saying? And so it was easy for us to hide because we were embarrassed. But then so many great things ended up happening. Go.
Right, so we're at this church. I am pastoring like I'm pastoring 1,000 kids, because here's a transition nugget. If it's 200, if it's 2,000, do it with everything you've got.
Everything you got.
Like I think whatever God has gifted and graced you with and given you stewardship over, the way you show him that you're ready for what's next is by giving your all with everything he puts in your hand. And I believe we probably did the best job we could. I mean, we would like be leading with Amana on one arm, London in another arm. Like, I mean, they were always with us. Yeah. But I think that it was the place, like for us, it was probably at that point the most peaceful season that we had, because we didn't have as many responsibilities. I mean, that my parents wouldn't take my money. Yeah. So I mean, even when I tried to pay my way.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take our money. So we were at least stable.
Yeah.
I knew that if we were not home, I wasn't home. Fanika at least had somebody she could talk to.
Yeah.
So she had another adult. I wasn't walking home to her goo-goo and gaga to a kid. She at least had comparable conversation. Yeah. It was a peaceful season. So much so that 3 months into the transition into Huntsville, I got a call to move to Tucson, Arizona, and assume a senior pastor role in Tucson, Arizona. When I got ready to leave for Tucson, y'all, and I kid you not, let me tell it first. When I got ready to leave for Tucson, Arizona, my wife said to me, "You can go, but I ain't going all the way down to Arizona right now. You can go right now if you want to. I ain't about to go all the way out there." Y'all, my wife sent me to Arizona by my lonesome. I mean, she said, "I got too many kids to go out there right now."
That's true.
I can't go.
That's true. But let me. I want to back up. I want to. No.
Tell your side.
No, I wanted to back up because you missed something that was so important.
Okay.
Even though we were going, even though we were embarrassed and all that, and when he was talking about giving it the best you got, sometimes you have to do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do.
That's so
true. And even in that, we did it with excellence.
Yeah.
We did it with excellence. So even in transitions, whatever you find yourself doing, listen, we were sweeping floors, doing whatever. Sometimes he would go, you ain't telling it all. He would go and help his father clean a toilet at another church just for extra money, because he had to do what he had to do to get the results he had to do for his family. Well, most would say, okay, you done went from a youth pastor at a mega church. Now, we was at a mega church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You have gone to an executive pastor. Now you are back home with your family, and you are cleaning bathrooms at another church and helping do floors and all this here, wiping windows. And then you're youth pastoring at a church, so you don't tell it all, pastor. The pastor. So then he starts this thing. If you're from Huntsville, you know about it. He started this thing with college students. So we came there to be youth pastors. You take it too fast.
Okay,
and he started this thing called Take Over Tuesdays. Take Over Tuesdays, right? We started packing that thing out with so many college students till it was more college students than people would come on a Sunday morning. And so this is where my dilemma was in this transition. So why this is happening, we met Pastor AD a few years before. He was living in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We started bringing him to come down to help run his college ministry, because I had so many kids. Wherever we would go, I would call AD and say, "Hey, can you fly out here? Because I need to go to help him." And I would say, "Can you come and help me wrangle some of these kids?" See, people don't know this backstory with us and Pastor Adrian Davis. He would come and literally be like the nanny. He would literally have to come and hold a baby, help him, and while we teach and taught and all these things. And so he started bringing him back and forth. The pastor comes to my husband. See, you tell the story too fast, Pastor. The pastor comes to and tell my husband, he says, "Hey, what you're doing is growing so great. Maybe we ought to look into phasing me out and I transition you in. But if you stay on here with me and let me groom you, and as the people, get to know you, then this would kind of be, what is it? Not the word legacy. What would be the word?
Inheritance.
An inheritance. Yes, your inheritance." So my husband, so you see, you went too fast. So we went to Tucson to teach for a youth conference.
Yep.
While we were in Alabama, we go to the youth conference, and I'm this was before, so you took us too fast because I was still pregnant with mom. And they said, "Do you think your husband would pastor our church?" And I'm waddling around there like a duck. And so I called Pastor AD. I said, "I'm waddling down here, and we got product to sell and stuff. You need to come on down here." So we flew on out there, and I said, and I said, "Well, why would you ask me? Would he be the youth pastor? I mean, would he come and be y'all senior pastor? Why don't you ask him?" I said, "Well, what type of church is it, sugar?" She said, "It's a missionary Baptist church, traditional missionary Baptist church." I said, "Oh," I said, "Well, have you ever heard him preach before? Because I don't don't know if that'll be a fit for him. I said, now we both grew up Baptist, but I don't know if that would be a fit for us. I said, so go and watch a YouTube video of him at our old church where they had him in his cave, in the cave, and he preaching Paul and Silas, and they done built a whole doggone cage. Just old on that. Go find it on YouTube. Yeah. And yes, sir. And he goes there, and the lady comes back day 2 with an application for him to fill out for this job, right? Okay, so I wanted to put this in there because when I first met him, when I first met my husband, we both had come out of traditional churches. We had both got into more charismatic church. We learned about the fivefold gift and all of those things. He told me, he said, one thing I want to do is go back to a traditional church. He said, and teach people correctly, things that they were scared to teach because we didn't understand. And so they ended up taking his license. You don't tell it all, Pastor. You don't tell it all. They took his license because he started speaking in tongues from the Baptist church. So you don't tell it all. And so he said, this is something. Now we were friends. And I remember that conversation. And I'm going to tell you why I have to tie all that in. Yeah. So he gets the call to go to Tucson. Now, we had already gone and did some interviews. This was the longest interview process in my life. I think we interviewed for that job for 7 months. But anyway, I'm sorry. It was 12. And so I just had blood on my mind. But I said, I know you lie. I'm down here. Now, the reason we left Tulsa, Oklahoma is because you was always gone and I didn't have no help with these kids. The reason why my mother-in-law had to come every week because you was always up at that church and I was here with these kids. And so now you're going to get, I would rather sleep in this 1 bedroom and pack my children up in there and put a pallet on the floor. But I got some help, a pallet on the floor. But I got some help. And so I fear set in because I kept saying, I've done this alone so many times. Now in this transition, even though we're kind of boxed in and it's embarrassment, but I have help. I have something I hadn't had. So then I'm saying, well, shoot, maybe you ought to take this pastor up on his offer here up in Huntsville.
That's exactly what she said.
Because if you think I'm going to leave this here, and I had a Holland Jack, my third baby mama, that baby had, what that baby had? Colic. Shoot, I ain't never had no baby with colic. That thing hollered all the time. I would go to Walgreens. They said, take little Holland Jack with you. Ain't nobody want to keep up. Because nobody keep up with my father-in-law. Nobody can keep that baby with my father-in-law. He put that baby in the car, drive the baby around, that baby gets crying, but let me go back. And I said, I know you lying. I know you don't think I'm finna leave here and move to Arizona and we got that little Holland baby in there. Shh.
So she was looking at, Vanika was looking at help.
Ask me, did I go?
Vanika was looking.
Ask me. Somebody type in there, did you go? I want to answer. Somebody ask me, did I go? Somebody asked me. I'm gonna wait. Somebody asked me, did I go? Somebody asked me.
So here it is. So
Holland baby.
Amanda did holler all the time.
Jesus.
She looking for help. I'm looking for provision. And so I'm trying to figure out how am I gonna provide for all these kids she done had and be
Who had?
Did you go?
Yeah, hell no. I wanted to whisper. Hell no, I ain't go. Showed it. Now come on, tell when I ain't go.
So she did not go. Everybody asked. She did not go. She left me. Well, I went on my own. Matter of fact, I remember probably our most intense conversation at that point really boiled down to if we were going to go or not, or if I was going to go. And all of her reasoning was, I ain't got no help out there.
Yeah.
And all of my reasoning was, I ain't making no money out here. So if I'm going to be a provider and I'm going to leave my house, I've got to go to where the provision is. All right. So I got to go. I'll go if I got to go by myself.
And I was upset because I was like, so you worry about what people say? I don't care what nobody say. We stay here. We set up our little life here. I went to college here. I know Huntsville like the back of my hand. This is my place, honey. Whatever. This is big city for me, baby. I'm from Selma. I'm from a little country place, baby. Huntsville was big hustle and bustle for me. I said, we can save our money. Your parents don't want to take our money. We've established a little savings.
But my thing was, we ain't making nothing to save.
But my thinking was, this man is about to set you up.
my thinking was, the man about to set me up. He got 50 members. This ain't no setup. This is, I'm about to inherit somebody's debt. So in my eyes, I'm like, we might as well go to Arizona. This is what I prayed for. I asked God for a situation like this.
But let me tell you the beauty. Don't. Is it shaking?
It shook a little bit when you said it.
Oh,
but
you know what? The little string is hanging out.
Yeah,
Okay, let me stay focused. Babe, look at the drawstring. I ain't tell you, babe. Stay focused. The beauty in this is that we had started bringing Pastor Adrian Davis down to Huntsville, back and forth, right? And he and when the pastor came to him and he decided he was going to take this job, he decided he was going to take this job in Tucson, Arizona. He said, "Well, I have somebody that is my son. AD is our firstborn son."
Yep.
And he said, "I have somebody that is my son. Why won't you put him in this position?" Because he had already been coming and helping out. So he knows the kids. He knows our college ministry that we ended up starting. He kind of knows everything. And we did this whole takeover Tuesday. And so the day we did a party, we celebrated. We did a party with him and Pastor Adrian Davis. Pastor Adrian Davis moved into his spot as youth pastor. And then he
got ready to move out.
He went to Arizona. But this is what the beauty of it is, guys, that God, he does not let one season of your life be wasted.
Yep.
And in that moment, with all that embarrassment, with all of that shame, it was a thing to pull AD out of a place.
Yep.
Because he was in a sunken place.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian was driving the church van.
He was driving a church van. He didn't have a place to live. We ended up giving him a car, and I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just telling you because a lot of times people don't know the backstory of really where our love comes from for him. And he took that ministry and he quadrupled it.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And so much so until he ended up becoming the senior pastor there. And that's what All Nations, what was it called? Christian Center was birthed out of. It was birthed from a place of our shame.
Yeah.
And I believe because of the way that we managed that transition and even what we did, we gave it our best. Even when we go back and look in that room together, like, golly, this is really
how do we
what
all
our life, has come to. But I promise you, if you look for his hand, he does not let one thing go wasted.
Absolutely.
I always tell people, no matter how hard it is, I always try to look for God's hand in a situation. No wasted season. No wasted season, guys. Listen, I promise you, no wasted season. And sometimes on that back of the yes, you are the one that has to go out there and look crazy to pave the way for somebody else. And so I believe that that's why we can't cry about seasons that was uncomfortable for us. We always have to look. It paves the way for somebody else, and then we should want to see our kids do better than us, and to see what he did. It blew me away. So let's go back.
I want to add another tag onto that. And I think in the midst of those pieces, another important marital piece as it pertains to managing transitions is don't make decisions in haste when you're not on the same page. I think our disconnect in me going to Arizona and her staying in Alabama was that we were not on the same page. I was saying, I got to do what I got to do for my family. She was saying, I got to do what I got to do to be sure I got the type of help I need. And we were on two diametrically opposite pages. Now, God made it all work for good, at the end. But in it.
Jesus. So I sent the man of God on to Arizona. They hired him in a weird time. It was like, maybe
it was March. It was March.
And so Ashriel was in kindergarten. And so, mind you, she was in kindergarten when we was in Chattanooga. And so we had to leave at Christmas, and she didn't get to go back and finish. So I had already moved her for her kindergarten year. And I said, I know you lying. I ain't about to move this baby again, and I ain't gonna move either.
You see that face?
And so, so he went. I ain't nobody but your daddy. It's your daddy. Let me tell him.
Oh.
Oh, because people be looking for it.
Guys, hold on. Oh man.
So I said I'm not gonna go, and he goes and he gets a 1-bedroom apartment.
I do.
In Tucson.
Hold on. Yeah. Pop, just say hi. Just say hi, Pop. Okay. All right,
Pop, you called us in the middle of a lie. We talked
lie.
about when we was living in your house. You got something to say about that, Pop, when we was living in your house with my 3 kids?
You just,
huh?
Don't do that.
I'll call you back.
I love that man.
All right.
So he goes and he gets a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yep.
And I am literally saying, am I really gonna go out there? Or are we about to have one of these I fly and come see you type of marriages? I started, kind of investigating that thing like, maybe. And I started saying, well, people in the service do it. These women, they can do it.
I said, you come to Arizona.
But baby, I ain't that type of wife, baby, because I got to touch my body. Hey. I can't. I just can't. Glory. Hey. Huh? I'm sorry. That's the hey. I'm sorry. Let me come back. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that.
So I go to Arizona by myself.
Yeah.
By myself for 3 months, March, April, May.
Yeah.
June, I fly back to Alabama to get my family.
Yeah.
And to fly us back to Arizona. Okay. Here's where everything gets interesting.
So he had already been pastoring now
for 3 months. Now.
And they ain't know me.
Okay. One. That's one. Two. Well, they had met her.
Not everybody.
Some of them had met her. A lot of them had met you.
The leaders.
Well, no, because you came on a Sunday too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, here is where some things are about to get interesting. And this is an important part of every transition. Some things had happened that I did not communicate to my wife. Okay? Here we go. So, when I left in March, I was promised a salary that was very, very close to 6 figures. It's very, very close to 6 figures. And so for me, this was like the best opportunity that I could set my family up in. Cost of living was comparable, if not less than it was in Huntsville. It seemed like, this was perfect. So I fly to Arizona, move into my apartment, but I had not signed a contract. Okay. Now the church probably at that time had 125 members, 125, maybe 150 coming consistently. But I didn't sign a contract.
How many on the roll?
1,500.
Hey, about 1,500.
So
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I get in a meeting with the deacons a couple weeks later, and we are going over my contract stuff. And guys, when they slide me the paperwork for the contract, it's about $40,000 less than what I had been promised over the phone.
Jesus.
We ain't talking about $40. We ain't talking about $4,500. We talking about a whole salary less than what I've been promised. Okay? So,
and he did not disclose that to me.
Me being the husband that I am. So, oh no, I can't tell her this. A woman of God ain't ever gonna come up. If I tell her that not only are we making less money than what I thought, but we're in a better situation than what we've been in, but not a whole lot better. But in my head, I'm like, this is the only offer I have. So I've got to do what I got to do to get my family out of my parents' house. Okay. So I signed the contract. Signed the contract.
You better be glad this ponytail ain't good.
And I moved the woman of God to Arizona. Okay. Here it is. The first day she gets to Arizona. I want you to tell them what you said when you got off that plane.
Y'all.
It's 117 degrees.
Y'all, it was so hot. It was so hot. It was so hot. Women, if you're welding down like me, it's like if you put on a plastic skirt and them thighs rub together and cause more friction than you would like. That's a real hot place. Baby, it was hot like that. I got off of there. I said, I ain't got more than 5 years. I said, no, Pastor.
She said, brother, you got
5 years. Listen, when he know I get to talking like that, I go, Pastor. I don't even call him by name, baby name, Pastor. You got 5 years with this member, okay? And I'm moving my membership. I'm out of here.
She was very clear. I mean, 5 years from that first day. She got
baby.
She said, you got 5 years, brother. She said 5 years, and that's all I got. Now, let's be honest. Woman God wouldn't have to be there. She nothing about her had a joy or jubilation about being in Arizona. She came because even in a difficult season, she wanted to support the one she had cut covenant with. It's a valuable key of managing transitions. Every season is not going to look like you want it to.
Yeah.
But when you learn how to support in the difficulty, it makes the easy ones so much better.
Yeah.
So tell them about your Arizona experience, woman of God.
So we get there, and I got a constant. I'm pissed. I wake up pissed. I go pissed. I'm pissed. The one that I was pissed. I probably was pissed about 2 years. I'll be honest with you guys. Because I don't want to lie to y'all. I want to be honest with you.
Now, my parents would come maybe once a quarter, once every 4 months.
Yeah. And so, and y'all, let me tell y'all what the Holy Ghost, what the Lord did. And I'm telling you now, I'm saying this and funny, but I'm telling you the truth, what the Lord did. I was praying to God to move us. And I said, God, I am a faithful wife. I'm a good wife. I don't cook every day, but I do the best that I can, Lord. I do good.
No, then you will cook every day.
I don't cuss at my kids. I don't cuss at my husband. I try to keep a good, peaceful place, Lord. Now, so Lord, you see, I'm not happy here, Lord. Lord, you got to get me out of here, Lord. You got to move us out of here, Lord. And the Lord told me, until you are all in here, I cannot move you. And one thing we have always talked about in transition, no matter where we is, we was going to get our all. Baby, they ain't get 5% of me. I wouldn't sing. I ain't going to preach at church. I am going to be a lay member. Okay?
And when I tell you, she would not do anything.
Member. You do that? Oh, no. I'm just cute. No, he just got a cute wife. No, I don't do any of those things. I started singing in church when I said, ooh, let me hum. Let me take that on down. Because this your church. And when he was trying to say something, I would almost be condescending and didn't mean to.
Almost.
Yeah. And I would say, well, that's your church. And, I let you worry about your church. And I would not even invest. Yeah. I wouldn't invest my heart in it. I just would not invest. And the Lord began to deal with me about that. And before that happened, so let me tell you, I taught a live last night. I think they'll try to pull it off. I'm going to put it on IGTV. But anyhow, I would talk about what changed me. What changed for Nika happened in Tucson. It happened in a transition. So we find out after I said, I ain't doing that in your church and all this here stuff. And I found out I'm pregnant. Now in Tucson alone, how many times did we move in Tucson alone? Let's talk about that.
5.
Okay. In 5 years.
Ashriel went to 3 different schools or 4?
3.
3 different schools.
So in Tucson, we moved five times in this transition because it was like that money just kept getting, the money kept getting short and short.
Well, it got shorter. It's not as much the money got shorter as much as it was the money got short.
Thank you. And so, so we moved a lot, even in the city. Y'all, I moved the house. Let me tell you how mad I was. Oh, Jesus. Y'all, I was so mad until I found a woman who had a pickup truck. Y'all, I moved the whole house
In the back of a
pickup truck while he was at the church. And not
I
nothing,
helped.
not nothing that he asked me to do. I want to be clear with that. This how mad I was. I was so mad I picked up a dresser. I took the drawers out of it. Say the word right, because I can't say it. The things that you put your clothes in, the drawers. Say it.
The drawers?
That thing. I took them out of there, the drawers. I put that thing on my back, and baby, I walked it down.
God knows you did.
I walked that sucker down, put it on that truck, and honey, I had my friend to sit on the stuff so that wouldn't fly off. Yep. And we made 98 trips. And when he came to finish moving his stuff, he came to a setup house. I mean, I had hung curtain rods, her curtains up. And he couldn't believe, y'all, you don't know, man. Baby, you mad you get strong as hell. Baby, I was so mad. I was so mad. But okay, but let me tell you what changed me. So I found out I'm pregnant, okay? And we are so excited about it because at this time we had 3 daughters. Yep. And at this church, it was weird. We had a lot of people that had all sons. Yep. So we had this big thing prepared to tell our in-laws on Christmas. We had bought these little Christmas things by grandma and all this. And Pastor gets so excited, he lets the cat out of the bag to the whole church. My in-laws are sitting there looking mortified like, I know you lying. Now we love y'all and we'll help y'all. But I know y'all ain't bringing another crumb snatcher. Not after y'all just had Holland Jack. I know you ain't doing that. I know you ain't doing that. I thought y'all said Holland Jack was your birth control pill. Shoot. I guess I wasn't that mad at you down there. My God. So I get pregnant. The whole church know. They're so excited. They hadn't had a pastor as young as us. And so it becomes this big thing. Now, everybody with a son, pray for my wife, pray for my wife. So all people would lay hands. They started buying all types of, everybody was all excited. And I get to church one Sunday and I get in pain, and my husband does this thing where he kind of watch me. You know, wives, you know what your husband, when he's preaching, and I said, if I get up and move and make a sudden move, he's gonna know something's wrong. I'm gonna wait till he, he really get into it. I'm gonna try to slip on out the door, get home. Anyway, long story short, I go into labor. Okay. I am only 4 months pregnant at this time. 4 months. I had just crossed over into the second trimester. I mean, fresh into the second trimester. Like, we're like saying, okay, we need to hurry up and find out what this baby is. Okay, and they say 20 weeks. Yep. So we just crossing over. And so we get to the emergency room. We went to the emergency room. Mm-hmm. We get to the emergency room. They tell me you are dilated, right? So I had already started dilating. And so we like, what? So can you give me some medicine to stop it? Because Katie almost came early and they gave me medicine and I stayed there for a few hours and they was able to stop the labor. So I said, surely you can stop the labor. And they was trying to explain to us, no. This is, we had to go. And so here I am pushing, blood is everywhere. And I push out a dead thing. And I did not know how to communicate that with him properly. I was so down on myself. That was a Sunday. The next Sunday, I was sitting back in church. And we hadn't even let our whole church know. So only a few leaders knew. So people were still coming up to me saying, oh my God, when the boy come. I have to come back home to a nursery already put up. And I lost it. Something in me broke. And I told them last night, it was like a a death of a child, but a rebirthing of me. After I learned how to manage that season, that was when the muzzle came off of Fanika. It was literally the thing that single-handedly, if I can say something that earmarked me to be who I am today, it was that loss. And I don't know why that loss did that to me. I didn't know how to communicate it to him. And I had, regrets of some things I had done in my past that I felt like God was punishing me, that I deserved this because I had an abortion in college. And so I felt like, now I'm in marriage and trying to do things right, that this was something that I deserved to happen. So I was scared to grieve it in such a way. So I had all of these internal things going on, and I didn't know how to communicate it for him. And then one day I kept saying, my kids don't deserve this. Like I had never knew I had dealt with depression until later. It was days I could not get out of the bed. He had to get somebody to church to start cooking. I could not get up. I'm telling you, I literally broke for a season. Like I couldn't be nothing for nobody. And when I came out of that season, you talking about giving beauty for ashes in a transition. And when I came, let me pull myself together. When I came out of that season, I told the Lord I was going to get at church everything that I had. And shortly thereafter, I ended up having to be the youth. I mean, the worship pastor at the church. And then because I like to touch his body, 3 months after that, I lost that baby. I was pregnant with Layla.
Yeah, she stayed pregnant. I mean, the woman of God.
I did.
The only way we could get her unpregnant was to tell the doctor, listen, when she goes in this time, pick everything.
Yeah, I put a sticky note, didn't I, baby? Yeah, I wrote a sticky note. I had never had a C-section. I was a high-risk pregnancy. I put a sticky note. I said, I ain't never had one. I don't know if I'm going to fall off the table. I don't know how this really works. But what I do want y'all to know is that I got to be out here with the deluxe package. I don't want them tied. I want them clip back, pull back, snatch back, whatever you got to do, pull them back.
When I tell you, I said, Lord, just take everything. We don't want it. We don't need it. Like, get it all. Get it all. If they can be used again, recycle.
Shut up. So when I got all in and we got on the same page, I'm going to tell you what else we saw happen in our church.
Yeah.
Our church just started booming. The church grew. And so until we had to move to 2 services.
It grew. It diversified.
It diversified.
It was the oldest African-American church
in the state
of Arizona, but it started to diversify, Native American, Caucasian. I mean, we just started to see a growing constituency, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
But we were still, even though everything's growing, everything's moving, y'all, in us managing our stuff at home, I was still managing all types of hell at the church.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I had stepped into as far as leading the organization. And I had no clue of all the ticking time bombs that were waiting for me to step on them so they would explode. Now, here's the other part about this transition. I think we'll give y'all this, and then we'll give y'all part 3.
You doing a part 3?
We have to, because we got to get the Atlanta and then like the
that's true.
So
will y'all come back for part 3?
Yeah, because we got to get the big part. So here is, all right, so here's the last part I get tonight. Y'all, many of y'all have heard me tell this story before. I was working easy 55, 60 hours a week. I was always at the church. I mean, I was at the church all the time. I mean, constantly there. So I came home one day, y'all, and thank you, Angela. Came home one day, and when I got to the house, Fanika had her and the girls' little bags packed at home. Y'all, Fanika had packed up and she had made up her mind. You know what? I didn't come all the way here to have to raise these children by myself.
Because I had been a single mama before.
She said, I done been a single mama before. I had good help in your mama's house. Your mama was helping me. Your daddy was helping me. And you think I came all the way out here to have to raise these children by myself? I'm going back home. Because my daddy bought me that car out there. And because my daddy bought me that car, he said if he ever start not doing right, you just hop your behind in the car and you can drive yourself home.
And that's what I was going to do. Because mind you, when we moved out there, I had a kindergarten, I had a 18-month-old baby and a 6-month-old baby.
Did?
Okay? That's what I had. I want to give you some ages.
So she was
5, 18 months, 6 months.
So by the time she got ready to leave, I think Boo was maybe second grade or third grade. So one of the guys said, she leave me. So I said, I did the famous, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna do it no more. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was in sackcloth and ashes. I mean, the woman of God was ready to go.
Ready to go.
I convinced her to stay. Y'all, within 2 weeks, I sold that car. It wasn't in 2 weeks later. I said, this car got to go.
Oh, somebody asked a good question. So I want to read that. Somebody said, how did she find out about that salary difference?
So once I got her there,
it was a while.
No, it wasn't that long of a while. It was by the end of the summer. I waited a little bit.
Probably when a utility got cut off.
Yeah, it was probably one of the lights. It's like, well, what do you make?
Yeah. They kept flagging out things, and I kept saying, "What does this little sticker mean, babe?" I don't see it anybody else saying it. My dumb self asked. They said, "Oh, that means they're gonna cut your utilities off." So then I was embarrassed. Like, what you mean they gonna cut our utilities off? They was sitting at the house, and the man of God was at that church, and them lights shut off. I was in there with my kids,
and that happened. I mean, when I say more times than I care to count.
Yeah.
But there's another part about the whole managing transition thing. And I promise you, but every married person on here, it's the 3 keys that I talk to and mentor with every relationship about: communication, money, sex. It's always the 3. And when one is off, it affects all the other 2. And when 2 are off, everything might as well be off. So for us, we didn't have no problem in the bed.
I didn't know that, right?
We had the bed down. I mean,
we got that.
we knew what it was to lick and stick. But
you can't say stuff like that. Sorry.
She said a lot tonight.
I didn't say that though.
Sorry. But the money and the communication piece always lacked.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to communicate because I never saw my dad communicate these pieces with my mom. I always saw him just bossing up and handling stuff. So I didn't know that these were pieces I'm supposed to be talking to her about.
Yeah.
And she did not know how to communicate her frustration with me about what was not happening with the money.
Yeah.
So because everything was all off there, and I'm like, y'all, I can't tell y'all to the degree I can't tell y'all to the degree that I was hiding stuff. Guys, listen, I would call home and I would get my parents to help me with bills before I would tell her something was wrong.
Yeah.
Like I did everything that I could to shield her because I thought that's what a good husband did. I thought a good husband made sure.
That's a mom.
I thought a good husband made sure that his wife never saw and or felt any pain that he could protect her from. And little did I know, I was making it worse because we was in the dark.
And in that, I was scared to really ask more questions because I didn't want to seem like I was trying to, is the word demasculate?
Yeah.
And make him feel like he could not do it. And so I would struggle. And so we started coming up with games with the kids, and we're gonna eat dinner outside, and all of these things. We had artificial turf in the back because you ain't really got no grass in Arizona. And we would put these blankets out and we would set the kids out there. Sure. And maybe I should go and post some photos. I got plenty of photos of us eating out there. And for Throwback Thursday today. And we would be in the dark, and I would still try to encourage him and let him know how much I still trust him, even in a real dark season, a bona fide dark season. And I do believe that what caused us to save our marriage in there is because even in some of those responses, I didn't come and say, you can't take care of us, you can't take care of our family or whatever. So then what I do, I got me a little kitchen beautician. She did. I started setting up in the house. Baby, I was weaving that little hair.
Now the other part of this is, look, someone asked a question as a husband, how do you have those tough conversations with your wife? And I also think I've got to get another session in just with the men. Yeah. And I've got to do that probably sooner rather than later. Because really tough conversations only happen when you are vulnerable enough to let your guard down, to say what it is, and to trust and believe that in your communicating that, the other person has your heart to the degree that they're not going to try to injure you because of your vulnerability. Yes. So it's that
maybe we need to do that one together because it's twofold.
It's that.
Because
I think yours need to go in your mentorship module. Yours needs to go in your mentorship module.
Because if a man shares his heart with you women, something that is really tough for them to share, the way you respond can be the thing that it would make it go one way or the other. Yeah. Because if a man gets that vulnerable with you, where he begins to share, and your first thing is, I'm going to attack what you say. I'm going to come against your manhood, your personhood with what you say when we trying to be honest. Because typically that's what it is. We're scared to have those conversations because how are you going to judge me? What is this judgment is going to look like? So women, even in those moments, get your journal, write it down if you want to cuss, but don't do it. Don't do it to him. I promise you injure a man, and that thing
will shut him down forever.
It will shut him down.
You all have,
and he will not trust to tell you nothing.
I promise you. Now this is forever, and we're gonna stop it here. I want every woman to hear me and to hear me well. You have the power in your mouth to build or to break the one that God sends you. Yeah. You have I promise you, you all as a wife, you can give compliments that hit our heart different than anybody else in the world. But when and the way that you critique and or cut has the ability to make us shut down. Yeah. And once we feel like we've been attacked and you've come for our throat or you're questioning who we are, we can shut it down forever. We can still pay the bills and shut down. Like we can still sleep in the same bed and our minds can be completely gone.
That's right.
We learn and we know how to go through the motions well enough that you all may not have a clue that we ain't there, but we ain't there. Yeah. Now, now y'all shooting questions.
Wait. Okay, let's go back because we're going to. I know we're going to come back because we're keeping y'all on here too long. Somebody asked what happened when he stole my car. Let me tell you something. Because I want to go back to that because I'm still. I see a black Honda Accord coupe today and I get mad. So my granddaddy got me that car. Okay, my granddaddy bought me that car. He said, if that nigga ever jump stupid, I'm gonna get this car.
He said to my face, he didn't say behind my back.
He said, I'm not gonna put his name on this car, Pooh. He said, Pooh, if it jumps stupid, pack your stuff in your car, Pooh, and come on. I said, do what now? Pooh, if it jumps stupid, pack your stuff in the car and come home. I felt that Joker was doing them 56 hours. He had jumped stupid. I said, and one thing about me, now he'll tell you, I'm not no argumentative person. You just ain't finna get me. I told y'all last week, if I get mad like that, it gets ugly. So it's just best not me let myself go there. I said, hey, Pumpkin, I done breakfast, lunch, and dinner alone. You left here at 8:30, and it's like 8 p.m. when you're pulling back up in this piece. And I was a single mother for 3 years. Okay, and I had my ups and downs, but your girl made it. Now I didn't get married to always be alone, and with Ekra children.
With who?
Ekra children. I said, make it make sense. He couldn't make it make sense. Yep. He couldn't get home in time. And this was what was crazy, because for the longest, I didn't even know how to communicate that, because I said, well, he ain't out with the boys. He ain't out cheating on me. I'm upset because he at the church too long. Now, how did I communicate that? Then found out about
she communicated with luggage.
Baby!
That's how she communicated.
And I think I was I pregnant with Lele?
No, you weren't pregnant with Lele then. It was just the three.
Baby,
but she communicated
the way
with luggage.
I was throwing that stuff in that car.
The way I kept her was got her pregnant again. Amen. So how did our kids handle the transition? Our kids, and I thank God.
Maybe we should come back and do it live.
I'm gonna let the kids come back and do it live. I thank God for this. They were small enough that God shielded them. Even Boo, for the most part, Boo has the best memory. Katie has some,
and Lele don't.
Lele like,
Yeah, she was a baby.
Lele don't know struggle seasons. Boo is very familiar. She knows them very well.
But this is the thing. Even in struggle season, I know they didn't even know we was in struggle season.
No.
Even my kids was in Walmart clothes every week, and them little Geronimos, baby, I put a little bow on it, and baby thought they was cute. Listen. Because even in that, but let me tell you what it also taught me. It taught me really how to stretch a dollar. Mm-hmm. That season, like even now today, sometimes he'll say, "Hey, I can go get you something else to eat. You ain't gotta eat that for 3 days." But those seasons put you in the mindset of, baby, we got to eat it all till it's gone, or we can't waste this, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I say, well, I just wait to such and such to get the girls another pair of shoes. He said, babe, they need a pair of shoes.
No. the last week, don't tell them those shoes. Last week, she said, I'm gonna buy this six pack of panties, and I'm just gonna split them up between them. I said,
that was a 10-pack.
It was 6.
They were the same size, two of them.
I said, so everybody get 3 pair of drawers? Like, I'm confused.
I did.
Why?
I said, but I'm gonna buy y'all new drawers when it's time for school to go back.
I said, woman of God, why they gotta wait for school to come back in and get drawers? Like, if they need panties, why can't they just get some panties? You ain't got to stretch drawers. Lele does not have to inherit a model's drawers. Like, it don't have to be like this. You're not in that season anymore.
Baby, let me tell y'all something, baby. I can stretch a dollar.
And stretch a draw, too. She can
listen, huh?
Stretch out the
Sure.
I got it.
I can stretch a dollar.
So next week. All right. Matter of fact, we talked about this.
Maybe we'll do a deluxe.
No. All right, we got to do 2 different things. We got to do 2 different things. All right. Sunday is our 12th anniversary. If we come on Sunday, we're going to do a Sunday dinner. But if we just come on Sunday, a couple years ago, we gave y'all 9 years, 9 reasons. What if we came on Sunday and just gave y'all 12 things we've learned about one another in the last 12 years? What if we just talked about one thing for every year that we've learned about one another? Y'all gonna come with us, celebrate our anniversary with us?
Yes, since we're in the quarantine.
Like we can't really get out and do nothing. But if y'all want to come celebrate our anniversary with, now we'll still come back and give y'all this part.
Yeah.
Next Thursday. Yeah. But if y'all want to come celebrate with us, we'll give y'all
come and hang out with us.
Yeah, we'll give y'all a little bit of anniversary stuff. We'll give y'all some stuff we've learned in the 12 years together. It ain't got nothing to do with the managing transitions. Yeah. All right.
And I tell you about that little nice little outfit I bought him. You gonna be a cowboy? What you
what you not gonna do?
You wanna be
this ain't barely on.
What I want you to be for the 12th year anniversary, I want you to be a cowboy. Yeah. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be a cop. I'm gonna go on Amazon and see what they got.
Okay. Well, Father, I thank you. Father, you've been holding this mouth a long time. You've been keeping these lips together.
That caught you off guard, didn't it? You wasn't ready for that.
You've been keeping it.
You're so gracious, baby.
Every time I say something, I get hit. So I'm trying not to get hit. So I'm just going to not get hit. Amen. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Amen. All right. So we will see y'all Sunday. I guess we'll put a flyer up and we'll put a link in here so you all will know to like it and follow if you haven't already. Please like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we will see y'all in I mean, when I say just a couple nights, we'll see y'all in a couple weeks. We love y'all.